Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Okay, so today's reaction video, we're checking out a band called the Dillinger Escape Plan. We're checking out a song called Prancer, which is going to be live at the Arctangent Festival. This is a request by you, Kirk. Why are we checking out Dillinger Escape Plan?
Yeah, so Greg Puciato, the singer, is one of my 5 idols that we're aiming to interview as part of our documentary challenge called How to Interview Your Idols in 6 months or Less. And I love this band. To me, pretty much like what your experience was, Andy, when you first heard Napalm Death, you're probably thinking, what the fuck is this? And for my generation, in 1999, 2000, new metal was popular. Rock was really on the way out, and then somebody showed me their debut album Calculated Infinity, which Greg doesn't scream on, I may add. He only joined on the second album, but from there they've clearly become one of the most influential bands in technical metal, especially pioneering that subgenre which we know as mathcore. So I just wanted to show you a live performance of Greg Puciato. So tell me what you think.
Let's go check it out. So, just before we go any further, what a bad placement for a bloody support beam. If you're in that audience, I mean, talk about taking the piss. Just standing there like you've got a ladder right in front of the stage. What's that about?
At least you've got a means of escape, haven't you?
Yeah.
You can climb up it to get out.
I am so surprised there's not more people climbing up that. But anyway, so I had to stop that because otherwise I'll forget to mention it at the end. But let's carry on with the video.
We never pretend, trusted, running skin, tonight sacred, all we love, for our immortality. All the light, will kill, shadow covered, the soul, the sense of the world, to disbelieve it. Fuck you, don't try to disbelieve it. Wow! Fuck you, don't try to disbelieve. Woo! Alright!
Okay, let me just click that button. So before me and Andy give our feedback on this one, I think, Kirk, you need to kind of take us through a little bit about the reason why you picked a live performance over an album for me. Because the only reason I ask that is because sometimes it's I've always found going to a live performance is great once you know the track, because then you can feel the energy. But for a first-time listener, it's not always the best idea to give them a live performance, in my opinion. So why did you pick this song for this live performance? What was it about this track that made you go, yeah, this is the one you're going to give us our break our cherry on?
Yeah, good question as well, because clearly this is a band that you probably would have been better listening to a studio video where you can hear, especially the guitars in the mix. That was pure chaos, wasn't it? I chose that because this is a band that had the reputation as the most violent band of all time on stage, which you can clearly see there. That doesn't actually demonstrate the full register of Greg's vocals, because he's actually a very adept crooner as well. You know, he's got a fantastic voice, and he's currently singing for Jerry Cantrell, you know, for the legend from Alice in Chains. Okay. Greg's actually touring and doing those songs with Jerry Cantrell. So yeah, I just wanted the visceral aspect. Okay. I just interested to know what you think. If you were there, what would your thoughts be, other than what the fuck is going on?
Okay, Andy?
You're absolutely right, David. It's not a band I've ever heard before. The name's been around and I've heard of them, but I've never, ever listened to them. What would I think if I was there, Kirk, was your question? I think I'd enjoy that performance if I was in the crowd at that festival. I mean, as a sort of representation of the band playing live, visually and audibly, that was really, really good. You know, the quality of what they were producing was fantastic. I don't think it's something I would get into, if I'm perfectly honest, but it is a very intense performance. I think you alluded to that. That's what they're known for. It take me a while to get into that sort of type of music. It is technical. It's very intense. The song structures are not sort of your standard format, are they? You know, that's again probably part of the genre they fall in. Yeah, I enjoyed watching that, and it was a good introduction to the band. Whether it's one I'd get into, I'm not absolutely sure.
Okay. Was this around 2010 era?
Oh, so this is from the 2013 album. One of Us Is the Killer.
Okay.
I think this performance is this might be 2016 actually.
Okay.
The farewell tour. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, you probably might have heard their 2010 album.
Probably, I have heard of them, and I'm sure I've come across the track every so often. It's never been a genre that I've massively got into. A lot of it was from the stage performance, that the ogre angry on the guitars, the kicking the amps and stuff. I'm like, okay, I saw a lot of that in the kind of the 2008 to 2010 era of the kind of the screamcore, hardcore bands that were coming out. That was this whole like, how much can you beat the shit out of your instruments on stage and show how angry you are. Saw a lot of that. I haven't seen that as much recently. It's like that was a common kind of stage performance thing where people used to swing their guitars around their necks and basses. That was a big thing for a while, and this kind of reminded me around the sort of 2010 era where I saw bands getting really angry with their instruments and trying to get this point across. So that's why I kind of thought was it from around that sort of time, because that's what it reminded me of. In all honesty, it wasn't for me. There was too many. I mean, even if you look at the audience, you can see the audience is just standing there like, what the fuck's going on here half the time. It wasn't like you had slam pits or anything going on. There was just people. There's a few people doing it, and that's because you've got so much erratic time changing going on there. There was definitely there's some jazz fusion influences going in there. And actually, when they went into that kind of chilled jazz bit, I was like, oh, this is cool. I like that. And then it just went off crazy. And the drum, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I have no clue what's happening with this track. Vocally, kind of actually reminded me of Richard from Dead Flesh when he was getting track vocals.
Just for our viewers, we should say that that's a local band, Dead Flesh.
Yeah, so it kind of reminded me of that. Also reminded me of our other reference point in Different Engine at points, where that kind of chaotic nature of what's going on. So I did kind of pick up on those. And at certain points, it's kind of, maybe it's a good thing about what we talk about, where we to say how good the Hertfordshire metal scene is that you can reference. I could see that sort of band being at a Club 85 show because the quality of the Club 85 bands that we get are so strong. And actually, that's what it kind of reminded me of, that style, that genre coming through. And that's what we see a lot of on top of the Doom element that we get in Hertfordshire. So I can understand why you like it. It's not something I could get really into, but maybe if it was an album recording, I might have had an easier transition in. But from a first point of a live performance, it wouldn't be enough to make me want to go and check them out any further. But maybe if it had been an album one, maybe I would have gone a little bit further down the rabbit hole, if you like.
Yeah, Joe, I'll just give you a bit of context where this music comes from. So the term you'll have heard is mathcore. And before Dillinger Escape Plan, two bands really helped to pioneer it. A band called Dead Guy with their 1995 album, those really jagged, dissonant riffs, strange time signatures, and a band called Coalesce. But it was Dillinger Escape Plan who popularized it with their 1999 debut, Calculated Infinity. And I would say to this day, that is the heaviest album in my collection. And it is just the pure visceral aggression of it. And as you pointed out there, imagine in 1999, someone brings a Walkman over to you, and on side A, you've got Dillinger Escape Plan, Calculated Infinity with these weird jazz fusion moments in there with grindcore. And then on side B, you've got Emperor's 9 Equilibrium album. And everyone else, understandably, Korn, Deftones, they were the big bands at the time. So when I heard that was just, I keep saying that was probably the moment of our generation, like it would have been in 1987 when you heard Scum by Napalm Death, or even Metallica, Kill 'Em All in 1983. Just one of those seminal moments, and they were so influential from there. And even to this day, there's some great mathcore bands knocking around. For example, there's a band called the Callous Dowboys, which they released an album 3 months ago, and that was our album of the week for Scream Blast Repeat. So this music, it never obviously penetrated the mainstream too much. It's just too heavy and too chaotic. And for me, I think it's that chaos that I like to insert myself into. You never get an album of more than 40 minutes of stuff like this, because I think it would be impossible for the artist to do something longer than that, just because of the sheer intensity. And the Dillinger Escape Plan split up in 2016 on a high point. They are, other than My Dying Bride and Death, probably the most consistent band. Every album in their discography is a classic, and they went out at the right time. And I believe also just the endurance and ferocity and getting in the mood to play music like that on a world tour, the older you get, is just going to be so difficult. So I think they did the right thing bowing out. Ben Wyman, the guitar player, is now in Suicidal Tendencies, and Greg, obviously, he runs his own label called Federal Prisoners, put out 2 fantastic solo albums, and he's also co-writing music with Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. So they're very still prominent in the music scene and giants of the 21st century, certainly in the extreme metal and metallic hardcore scenes.
Okay.
Just a quick discussion point. I'm, when I'm looking for new bands or something perhaps to listen to, or if someone recommends something, the band name is very important. I mean, I don't know what the Dillinger Escape Plan means. You'll elaborate, I'm sure, in a moment, Kirk. But how do we all agree with that? I mean, Theatre of Tragedy, My Dying Bride, you kind of know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Dillinger Escape Plan doesn't tell you anything. I mean, I had heard the name. I was thinking more sort of hardcore element. I didn't know they were as technical and as sort of ungenreable as what they are, to be honest. I just didn't know much about it, to be honest, but the name doesn't give anything away.
I think it doesn't. I mean, I had them pegged in the same genre as American Head Charge, would have been the band that I would have kind of put them in with.
Based on the name.
And I knew American Head Charge, so I've kind of, and it's what a band that we will come to at some point on the channel, but I heard of them mainly because it was around the same sort of time when I heard American Head Charge that the Dillinger Escape Plan was also being put around, and they were on the same bills on festivals and stuff like that. So I was like, kind of came out around the same sort of time. They're kind of brutal. They're a statement point, but they've not got to talk about death. They're not talking about maids and fantasy. So I'm going down. They're going to be some sort of screamy, hardcore kind of band, because that's kind of what they're not going to be fluffy and bunnies, are they?
No, you're right. And the names of the bands, the leaders in this subgenre, Converge doesn't really tell you much. As I said, one of the current bands, the Callous Cowboys, is obviously a play on the Dallas Cowboys. So it shows they've got a sense of humor. You wouldn't expect them to have any metallic elements. Obviously they do. Botch, another hugely influential band. As I say, Dead Guy. Dead Guy probably is the only one, isn't it, where you think, oh, they're probably going to be extreme.
Yeah, I'd have gone with just for the fact I say Dead Guy, I would go down that they're probably going to be more of a Dead Guy. I would almost say sleaze rock. Dead Guy, because it's the guy bit at the end of it. Because I kind of make it feel like they're going to be like some sort of weird sleazy rock, weird punk metal thing going on there. That's just it's because I hear that it's the guy bit maybe. But I think we've talked enough about the Dillinger escape plan for today. Now if you liked this video, please do subscribe, click the bell icon, like and share, and we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care, bye bye.